Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to kind of do a formal bracket randomizer for the teams tournament that we're creating. Just so you know, everyone's always like, "Oh no, I played the hardest team ever. I played your Milwaukee Bears. How do I know that that's on the up and up?" Well, here's your reason. So a little introduction. So it's going to be myself. Obviously, same for singles, but just because we're doing a formal video, myself, John Marr and Will Cohn. We're going to be your admins for singles and teams, obviously, but this specifically regarding teams. John, what are your thoughts on the concept of teams now that we've almost got a full first set of matches in singles done?
I think teams need to be even better. It's we're gonna do some collaboration, same format for the most part, but we have to collaborate on them. People get to choose team strengths. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and Will, that's a good segue. Will, so what were your what are your thoughts on the fact that we decided that it's only going to be one team strength for the entire tournament? What do you think about that? Because I know a lot of teams are like, oh, depending on the match, I can kind of carry the weight for this one, or you can carry the weight. No, with this one, you're going to have to collaborate your team strengths for the entire tournament, but you also have to be broad enough, but not too broad, because it's going to have to stretch maybe up to 5 games. What are your thoughts on that, Will?
Kind of like what John said, this is going to be very interesting because, as you put it too, really you need to figure out a strength where one person is not carrying the team. You really need to work together as a team to try and find that common ground. I know that, for instance, John and I have been talking. We're not going to spoil anything right now, but we found a good common ground for both of us, where both of us can equally carry the weight instead of one person just being Atlas, just carrying the entire weight, while the other person just freeloads.
Yeah, you have teams. So when we came up with that idea, it's like, this is a team's tournament. This isn't a one person's carrying another person. We want this to be fun. We want, obviously, the whiteboard, it's separated. So you definitely, both players want to have a nice average there. And then round 2, you have to kind of trust your gut for a respin for a category that, you kind of have to agree on. And then round 3, it's all based on your strength. So, yeah. Me and Jay definitely have come up with a one that we agree that I feel like we can mesh pretty well. So yeah, we have a bunch of players that are carrying over from singles, but also some new players that didn't quite make singles. So I'm definitely curious to see how it's going to go, whether it's new teams, old teams, or just new faces in general. So you guys ready to kind of let's talk about the rules just for the people. So round 1, there's going to be 9 questions. We'll just bump it up to 10. Let's just go 10. 10 questions, 1 question from each of the strengths, and then 8 randoms, and then you have dogs barking. If you get a perfect round, then you'll get a bonus question. Coco Bean, hey, relax, little girl. John, finish the rules while the dog barks.
Round 2 is going to be your normal spin the wheel round. Both strengths will be on the wheel along with opponents. Well, your choice or your opponent's choice. Then I believe are we bumping up to 12 for this as well? It'll be 12 total. So then there will be 7 other categories and 1 mystery category on the wheel. Yep, normally most categories except for the mystery category, it's 2 points, or you can bump it down to 1 for multiple choice. If you spin the mystery category in your first spin, you can let the go for it for 3 points apiece. If you spin it on your second spin, the category is revealed and it's a regular category 2 and 1.
I just want to throw this out there. Are we still saying no? You can't give the mystery category for opponent's choice. Just curious.
I like that rule, but whatever.
What do you think, Will?
So I kind of agree because as you're not allowed to really know the category ahead of time, you just either have to say yes or no to it. So especially some of the mystery categories that John and I have written are so completely bonkers that
you should admit it.
Some of these categories are just going to be not necessarily difficult, but some of them are just going to piss people off.
Well, and also I think the reason I kind of had that question is because before we decided that we're going to bump up the amount of categories on the wheel, that it just leaves minimal options. But now that we're going to have more options, it's not going to be that big of a deal. So I agree. Right. Let's not keep it out there. There's still technically 7 or no, 9 possible categories that you can give away. So yeah, that's plenty. So then round 3, once again, you provide your season or your tournament strength for the entire tournament, 1, and then that is going to be your 2, 3, and 5. So keep this in mind. You're going to be guaranteed 1 question in round 1, 3 in round 3, and then up to are we doing 4 or 5 questions in round 2? What do you
I
guys
think we
think?
should just stick with 4.
I like 4. Yeah, let's not overwork ourselves. That's plenty. We don't need to oversaturate the points. So what is that? 1. So that's 5. You have up to 8 questions in total in your strength, and potentially in 5 games total. So keep that in mind. There could be up to 40 questions asked by your strength. So if you pick something super broad, then obviously it's going to be difficult. But if you pick something super narrow, minimal guidelines, might get real deep. You might be asking what color is on the wall in scene 4. No, it ain't going to be that bad, but it'll definitely be interesting. So there's going to be some strategy into it.
So going along with your point, I definitely want to kind of break down what the 2, the 3, and the 5 are typically what you're typically going to look at, because there has been some questions that I have fielded privately, as well as some quote unquote criticisms, we'll say, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
So this is kind of what I want to break down as to what you're expecting in those two, the 3, and the 5 point questions. The 2 point question is always going to be a data related question. That's where your release year comes in. That's where who played this character comes in. How many times has so and so worked with so and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So these are all very database questions. That doesn't necessarily mean that all of them are going to be equally, some might be slightly more difficult depending on the strength. But again, if you're choosing this as a strength and it's that easy of a data thing, it should be pretty simple for you.
So my frame of thought is 1 of 2 things, at least for me personally as a writer. So I'll let you guys respond here. If it's a database and it's a 2-pointer, I look within the top like 7, 8 build, and I'll either pick a lower build and a harder name, or a lower build like a mid build and a harder name, or a lower build with a more popular name. So you still have to know that they're in that movie, but it's like, oh, they have a bit part. So it's still a 2-point value, but it's something you either have had to study or you've had to see the movie to remember that they're in there. So it's not just of a like common knowledge of like, oh, or for here, I can say this out loud since it's been brought up. I asked the Whoopi Goldberg question in the Star Trek, where it's she's in 2 movies. It's technically uncredited, but she's a famous actress. And if you've seen the movie, you've either noticed that she was in the credits, or you notice she's not in credit, but it's like lower, or you notice that, oh wow, I recognize that face. So that's a good example of like one that's technically harder, but it's a 2-point value because she's technically famous. So that's at least my thought process.
And I'd say the exception to the rule is the fact that if somebody's going to pick a totally data strength, like if you're picking movie release dates as your strength, you're going to get all data questions. So obviously that's what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we try and be a little more creative with it. Like, for example, if it's release dates, there's going to be maybe some math involved, maybe less clues given. It's like, oh, hey, these movies of this director, name the year, but you don't know maybe the movies. Like, oh, like I wrote a question, what year saw the release of 2 film debuts of these directors? But I didn't say the movies, I just said their debuts. So you kind of have to use a little bit of mental thought process with that. So yes, I like that. And then our thought process with the 3-pointer is more of, you've had to mandatory have seen the movie once, preferably twice, but at least once you've had to see the movie. And then for the 5-pointer, you definitely have had to see it 2, 3 plus times, no matter what. And that obviously helps you if you have a smaller strength, but if you have a broader strength, it's one of those. It just depends on, the luck of the draw that day. And that, but also comes into the fact that you picked a broader strength. So, it is what it is. So any follow-ups on that?
So with the broader strengths, say like, for instance, you choose musicals.
No one's choosing musicals, but I like your point.
Yeah, I don't anticipate anyone really choosing musicals, as you said.
Mystery category.
Oh, if I'm going to do something with mystery category musicals, it's going to be a lot less broad than that. But anyway, moving on. So, you have your data, your data question in musicals. So, like, say, what year was Hedwig and the Angry Inch released? Well, there you go. But for the 3 and the 5, you're going to get one. You're going to get the 3-point question is going to be something that is probably going to be a little bit more well known. So you're probably going to get a question like, say, My Fair Lady or In the Heights, something, something that's known, something that's been out there, something that's been talked about. And then for your 5-point, if you're going to choose something, if you're going to choose musicals, then you're going to get something that's a little bit more obscure. So, say, the last 5 years. Hardly anyone's ever seen that. You might get a question from that. You might get a question from Anna and the Apocalypse. Very, not very well seen.
In this community, it is, but yes,
in this community, it is. But you get my point. You get my point that it's going, if it's not going to be, well, name this film. It's going to be a, if it's something more well known, it's going to be a fact-based thing. It's going to be a plot-based question. It's going to be something that's integral to the movie itself. It's not just going to be a walk in the park. We're not going to hand you 5 points and say, good job. You have to earn that 5 points.
And seeing as it's a team, there's 2 of you, so it increases your chances of getting the answer, hopefully.
Exactly, and like you said, the teamwork, and then well, as always, you have your 3 repeats or time extensions, so you can use them as you have. And something that I've pitched to these guys that I really want to do. We always have the challenge rule, but I want to add some weight to it. If you throw out your challenge and you lose, not only do you lose your challenge, because obviously we're also going to take away one of your repeats and time extensions. We're gonna have some weight in there. If you watch the NFL, if you lose your challenge, you lose it. If you get your challenge wrong, you lose a timeout. So we're gonna have some weight in that, because a lot of people are like, oh, if I lose my challenge, then I just don't get a challenge. But it's like, how often do you really see challenges? Once every 4 or 5 matches. So if you have a challenge, let's actually have some weight in there, so people aren't just challenging, Schmodown style.
And also for challenges, it makes sense to just cut down in the chit chat. Like if you're going to challenge, just say you're challenging.
Yeah.
Like don't debate the hosts. Just challenge, and then
we'll discuss it after the scenes. Because if you guys notice on the channel, I edit these videos, so let's make it easy, clean cut, and let's do all that stuff. And with that said, less banter, so I could have easier edits, especially when we're going from the wheel screen and all. It's so hard when I'm trying to edit. No, that's just nitpicking. So, anything last on the rules and the general league that we want to discuss before we get into this bracket?
No, I think we're good. Let's go for that bracket.
All right. So what we did behind the scenes is we had 2 teams sign up at the last minute. Some behind the scenes issues, not a big deal. We're welcome. But we decided that we're going to throw those 2 teams as well as 2 random teams into a quote unquote play-in tournament. So we're going to have a mini little tournament to go in, and then the winners of those will jump up into the 2 spots of the 4 sides of the bracket. So we have 4 brackets, which is going to be 2 matchups each, and it's going to collide into one, just so at least has a little bit of cool looking for the picture. So behind the scenes, just so everyone knows, the 2 teams that were last minute entries that are automatically thrown into the play-in tournament is team the Pigeon and the Summer Soldier, which is Luis Boob and Sam Wilson. And then we have Ryan and Christina. Don't have a specific team name, but Ryan Payne and Christina Vassallo. So they are going to be 2 of the teams that are automatically entered into the play-in tournament. And then we randomized behind the scenes, and our 2 teams that we had that, we did a randomizer. We'll tell you the matchups in a second. But we have the Sandy Tato, Sandy Robinson and Jake Tato. They got randomized into one of those spots. And then the other one was team. What's the name of their team?
They're the Good Shepherds.
The Good Shepherds, Richie Goodacre and Steven Shepard. So we did a randomize of that matchup, and it is going to actually be Richie and Steven, the Good Shepherds, versus the Sandy Tato. And then the other side, it's going to be Luis and Sam versus Ryan and Christina. So the winners of those will jump up into the brackets, and we can just honestly make those the top 2 brackets. So how I have it set up behind the scenes, we had a little fun. We did some director names. So one bracket is going to be the Tarantino bracket. We have the John Carpenter bracket, the Alfred Hitchcock bracket, and the Fincher bracket. So we're going to throw automatically the winner of Richie and Steven versus Tato and Sandy in the Tarantino bracket, and then Luis and Sam versus Ryan, Christina in this bracket. And they will be the quote unquote 4 seed of that. So they'll automatically be there. So I'll actually write that now. TBD. All right, so are we ready to actually spin this away now?
Let's do it.
Spin away.
All right, so let me share my screen. And as we spin, we will announce who the teams are and all that stuff. See, There you go. And that's a good thing. If you use all your repeats and time extensions early, you don't technically have a challenge. So that's definitely some strategy based into it. So I really like that. So, all right, let's share the screen, and then we will have our wheel. Let me make sure I mute, unlike what Kevin did and his. He did not mute, and you heard that spinning the entire time. All right, make sure it's on there. There we go. All right, so our first team that's going to go into the Tarantino bracket as the quote-unquote 1 seed, and that will be playing TBD, which is the BCC, which is going to be Aaron Knoll and Austin Howell. So right off the bat, we have Austin and Aaron playing the winner of Richie, Steven, Sandy, and Tato. What do you guys think about that?
That should be pretty good. I mean, I can't really make any predictions on that match of who's going to necessarily play in, but I think we were talking beforehand about how we think Austin and Aaron combined probably have a very good base knowledge, and it'd be surprising. They're going to pull out a lot of stuff. You're going to be surprised that they know. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I honestly think that Austin's the type of player that if he actually starts getting into the mind of trivia and not just, oh, hey, I should know this because I've seen movies. If he actually learns like the ideology of trivia, I think they could be scary because Aaron's one of those guys. He just knows things. I don't know how. He's so young. He just knows things. Will, do you have a preference in that, or it's kind of like we'll wait and see for that one?
In terms of preference, it's absolutely right. Because we don't know who necessarily they're going to be playing, then it's going to be kind of hard to say one way or another. But in terms of the team up of Austin and Aaron, that is a very interesting combination because both of them have different strengths that I feel, different strengths alone that I feel complement each other. And so when they, if they do a sit down, kind of like what John and I did, and talk about, what strengths what they have, they could probably find one that's really good and really dangerous in this competition. So I'm really, really curious to see how this team does.
Yeah, I definitely like that. So now we're going to jump over to the number 1 seed in the Carpenter bracket. Too Much Horror Business, which is going to be Bill Carriola and Melissa Woody. So that is definitely going to be an interesting. On paper, that definitely feels like a number 1 seed. So I definitely like it. Bill's been crushing it in all leagues, and Melissa's come in and she's just been doing her thing. So they will be playing the winner of Luis and Sam versus Ryan and Christina. So that already is going to be an interesting matchup in round 1. So I'm curious to see how that one goes.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling I could probably figure out what Bill and Melissa's strength is going to be. But we can spin it if we want to spin again.
Yeah, all right. The number 1 seed in the Hitchcock bracket. Now we're completely in a wide open one. No matchups here. Ooh, Delta Squadron. A team that on paper you would not necessarily consider a number 1 seed. Obviously, it's just random. But Kevin Poss and Papa West, 2 geek players. So definitely curious. I mean, you can tell by their name. But yeah, that's a team that, I'm curious to see what their strength is. Oh, that's another thing. Officially, no geek categories are going to be used for the entire tournament in terms of that won't be general. So we as writers will throw in randomly a full geek category, which we already posted what that entails. But no geek specific categories are allowed. Just because it's general movie trivia, you're only allowed 1. We don't want people winning solely on geek stuff because there's a lot of points involved in this. So just to make it fair for the people who study movie trivia as a general. And our number 1 seed in the Fincher bracket, one on paper would definitely sound like a number 1 seed. Special Practice, Scott Harvey and Kirk Kolakowski. This is definitely on paper going to be a very scary team. What do you guys think about the entry of this team?
So I love Scott and Kirk. They alone are pretty scary competitors when they put their foot, when they put their nose to the grindstone there. And so going up against Kevin and Papa, who definitely have
they're going to be on
they're different bracket.
Yeah. Oh, different bracket. Yeah, okay, never mind.
They don't have a matchup yet. Just as a team, though, they're definitely going to be scary. Yeah.
This team is especially if they find a good category, like
That is the one thing I will say. I feel like they are so opposite in their strengths, which will complement them for the rest of it. For the strength, yeah, it's one of those things. If you watch the top 100 on YLS, Kirk hosted that, and Scott was in there, and everything that Scott was towards the higher stuff, Kirk was hating. So I'm definitely curious to see on what they agree on.
I think they'll between the two of them, they're gonna pick like a really like common, like a really deep like filmography of an actor or a director, and they're just gonna run it.
Yeah.
They're gonna run it. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
I respect that. All right, so now we are going into the Tarantino bracket, the 2 seed. Fellowship of the Quiz, which is Brian Nussbaum and Steve Mesa. That is a team that honestly I'm surprised that they matched up, just because I feel like I'd never really seen them like together on things. So I'm definitely curious to see what they decide that they're going to do, as a team. Any thoughts on those guys?
Well, I've seen them play in Ontal. So,
okay.
I mean,
so they are.
Yeah, they're. I forget what their team name is. It's definitely not their team name over there. They're the Diamond Mine in Ontal. They did okay in their opener. They hung in there. Unfortunately, they're just still getting their footing as a team. But I think in time, these guys are going to be really good.
Yeah, definitely. And if you see Mesa play at all, he knows his stuff. And then Brian's everywhere in the comments. He definitely at least watches stuff. So it's just like being a writer. If you watch enough and you write enough, you're just inherently going to learn. Going over to our number 2 seed in the Carpenter bracket, Shampoo is better. Jordan Owens and Rick Weaver. That's one that I just remember because that's just a JPO quote constantly. So that is definitely going to be an interesting team. I know that they hang out a lot over on JPO's channel. Make sure you check that out. Show about trivia.
If JPO starts studying, these guys are going to be dangerous.
Yeah, but JPO won't, so they're going to be fine. They're I don't know. Maybe Rick will convince them to study. I'm not sure. That's definitely going to be an interesting idea, in theory. Back over to the Hitchcock bracket, the number 2 seed. The P-Wagon, and because I am monetized, I did not want to get demonetized, so they are going to be the P-Wagon. They're going to be nothing but the P-Wagon until we're about 15 minutes into every video involving them, so I can keep my couple cents that I make. But that is going to be Abel DeLu and James Puckett. That is a team that, on paper, once again, Abel's a big fan of the geek, but if he knows his stuff too, so I'm curious to see if he's going to implement some studying, some prep, and all that stuff. And then James, he's one of those guys that, I don't know him that well. I know you guys know him a little bit. So what do you guys think of that team?
It's a pretty strong team, I think. Definitely, they have a large base knowledge. Obviously, Abel is stronger in geek, and geek questions always find their way in. So we definitely know those. He's going to slam dunk those. And James is a pretty good all around player. So they're definitely dangerous.
I don't think you can discount Abel as just saying he's a strong geek player. He really is a strong player once he finds his groove. Sometimes in matches, just like every other player, he sometimes will need to find his footing. But once he finds his footing, once he's able to get comfortable, he's able to run tables, and I've seen him do it more times than not. So so just because you may have seen him lose here or lose there, do not count him out for anything.
I definitely I love that hype up. So apparently we're hyping up the P-Wagon. All right, going over our number 2 seed in the Fincher bracket. Team 21%. Of course, I'm in the same bracket as Special Practice. That's what I'm talking about. But we're not playing them, luckily, so it will be a bracket finals at least. But yeah, so obviously a couple of assholes on that. What are your guys' thoughts on Team 21% being in the same bracket as Special Practice? Not round 1 matchup, but the same bracket.
I'm going to wait and comment and see what the first round matchup is. I'm very close friends with Jay's cousin, Ray. So, I mean, Ray's been very excited that you guys are in this tournament. So that's all I can say about that.
I'm sure there are jokes about, someone, saying, someone on the team needing to give Jay some, a weekly supply of aspirin or Advil because, he's going to be carrying the other player. But
wow, shots fired.
That
hurt.
In all seriousness, though, I've seen you and Jay play. John and I have played you in a match before, and you definitely gave while we gave you your run for your money, you still came out the victor of that one. So again, just because you guys joke around and talk a lot of shit doesn't mean you should be underestimating them at all.
I agree. I like that. I'm definitely curious to see who we play. All right, so our final team in the Tarantino bracket who will be playing the Fellowship is going to be the Pittsburgh Kiwis. Russell Howell and Malcolm Lay. So they are going to be playing Steven and Nussbaum. So what are your guys' predictions on that one?
So I want to give my thoughts first because as you saw, I played Malcolm in our Untitled, or not our Untitled, our there will be trivia debuts together. And while everyone says that Malcolm is shit at trivia, I think he did more enough to prove that he is a powerhouse player in this league.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he would team up with anyone, let alone the person he teamed up with, this is not a team that you should be taking lightly. Malcolm is a man of few words, but what he doesn't say, he speaks volumes in his score. So do not take these guys lightly either.
Malcolm's a man of few words. One of those words is anyway. But
anyway,
he also puts in the work. He's very open about what he's doing. He's open about what he's studying. He's trying to watch at least one movie a day. He puts in the work, and I said it about Malcolm all the time. Every time you see Malcolm, he gets better. So watch out for Malcolm.
Yeah, and Russell's one of those players. If you guys don't know who he is, he was Chance Ellison's original partner in the Families before Chance got promoted to the Schmodown. So he's definitely a veteran of this league. He's shown that he knows his stuff. He's one of those players that he's not out here studying and all that stuff, but he's an older guy, so he's definitely seen his fair share of movies. And if him and Malcolm can come up with a strength that works well as a team, I definitely wouldn't sleep on them. And who knows how Steven and Nussbaum are going to mesh together. So that could be a really good matchup. I might actually give the edge slightly to Russell and Malcolm on that one.
Absolutely.
Jumping over to our next matchup, who's going to be facing Shampoo is better. Your Milwaukee Beers. All right. Well, that means that there's a world where your Milwaukee Beers and Team 21% will be playing in a conference final in a sense. So but you guys are playing Shampoo is better. So Shampoo versus Beers. Obviously we have special guests right here of Milwaukee Beers. What are you guys' thoughts on your opponent?
We're gonna kick this shit out of those guys. Thanks a lot. That's such a lucky spin. Holy crap. If you had told me I was playing JPO in the first round, I might not even show up. I'll just have Will play him by himself, and he's going to score higher than both those guys.
Oh my God. I'm clipping that out, and I'm just sending that to the weekend chill chat. Holy cow, that's a low blow, and I love it. Shots fired. Will, what are your thoughts as someone who's only going to be showing up to that match?
I mean, I'll show up. As much shit as I could talk right now. What Shampoo is better needs to realize is that I prepare for easy matches, or what I perceive to be easy matches, just as much as I do for matches I perceive to be more difficult. So you're getting the same player out of me as you would an elite team. So this is kind of a warning to Shampoo is better. You better fucking study.
Uh-oh.
Because we're coming for you.
Yikes.
Okay?
I like it. All right. Our next matchup against the P-Wagon, we have The Price is Wrong, which is Brandon Cohen and Nick Carley. And if you just saw Brandon Cohen's match, he is a beast. And Nick showed that, he knows his stuff. It's just depending on, what questions are asked, but the stuff he knows. So what are your guys' thoughts on that matchup?
I like Brandon a lot. Brandon always, I mean, he's been involved in a bunch of matches where clearly they were jokes, and so his first introduction to these leagues, it was rough, but when he was put in actual matches with actual trivia, he does very well. So again, another person I wouldn't sleep on. That might be the match to watch in round one, actually. I think. Yeah, that's gonna be a good match.
All right, that's what I like to hear. I'm definitely excited for that. All right, now it's time. the team that is going to be playing Team 21%. We still got some killers on the board. Of course. The high ground. We are going to be playing Antonio Chavez and Robert Kastner in round 1. Wow, let's go. All right, what are you guys' predictions?
I've changed my opinion. This is the match to watch in round 1.
Holy shit!
I'm gonna put all the hype. I'm gonna put all the hype on this match. I'm gonna put on a tuxedo when I host it.
Finally, someone's gonna match Will Swag. Will, what's your thoughts on this match?
Can we just call this one the bloodbath right now? Because actually, no, I take it back. We need to call this match Alien versus Predator because whoever wins this match, the other team is probably going to lose. So,
no, it's playing special practice. Remember, we're in the same bracket. This is the hardest bracket. This is bullshit. This is not rigged.
So, the fact, John, John and I have played Robert and Antonio. In fact, we're actually going to be playing them tomorrow.
Yeah,
as well. So we have experience playing them. These are two players that just know their shit. They know when to study because they're probably always studying.
They care. They care. and that's the biggest strength, that they really care, and that goes a long way.
And because they have that. They have that care because they have that passion behind them. They are just fucking dangerous.
Yep.
So watching you and Jay going up against these two powerhouse opponents, oh my god! This is like pay-per-view quality.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to probably do my best editing on that one, so I'm definitely excited to see that. I might schedule that towards the end so I can study even more hardcore and make sure we're super ready.
I almost wish we could do that match live. I really do.
Hey, I mean, we'll see what we can do. You never know. But our second to last final matchup against Delta Squad, which is Paz and Papa, is going to be we lose. We love Christina. Oh, Jesus. That's already great. That is going to be Aaron J. and Anthony Tisdale. That's funny. But yes, let me take that off screen so it's not just on there. Just and then we'll double up the two matchups. So picture this is going to be in our bracket playing a special practice, which is
what a crazy quadrant you have, Henry.
Yeah.
Those are 4 really good teams in your side there.
Yeah, this is going to be one that I honestly have no idea what's going to happen. So let's start off with Kevin Pass and Kevin and Jacob. Jesus, why did I forget his name? Versus Aaron and Anthony. What are you guys' thoughts on that matchup?
Like we saw in the singles match that Aaron was in, he. When he finds the right mixture of cannabis and whatever else he has in his system that day, he's really, really dangerous. If he smokes just enough, he becomes like a savant. So hopefully he's mastered that and he knows how much of the joint to smoke, and he stops and then he plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
Anthony's good too.
And Anthony's great. He's one of those things. He's one of those players that if you get the stuff that he knows it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And definitely, that's definitely a good team. They've proved that they can win. And then on the last matchup, we have a special practice: Scott Harvey versus and Kurt Kolakowski versus Chad Webb and Dill Renduzzo. Dylan, unfortunately, we had some scheduling issues, so we didn't get a chance to see him in the singles tournament, but he signed up for teams, and him and Chad are going to be out for blood, and they're definitely going to be looking for blood, not only with the special practice, but the winner of my match with me and Antonio and Robert. So that's going to be a. What are your guys' thoughts on that matchup?
That's gonna be a great match.
Yeah, go well. Chad is a very hungry player. He's very friendly and very cordial, very gentlemanly when you start talking to him. But then once the competition starts, he is just hungry and will just stop at nothing to get that W. Yeah. And if Dylan is, as you said, we didn't get to see him play in the singles league yet. But at the same time, if he is even a fraction of the hunger that Chad has, then we can't make an odds book on this one. I think it very well could be an easy it very well could be as more of an even match than we anticipate.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so just a quick rundown of the bracket. On the left side, my favorite in the Tarantino bracket is going to be. I'm actually gonna go Aaron and Austin for the dark horse. That's one of those where honestly that entire bracket is completely full of unknowns and not unknowns in a sense of like we don't know them as players, but as teams. So I feel like that they're the one that might be able to sneak that one out. Over on the Hitchcock bracket, I'm gonna go Aaron and Anthony. Let's see if they can just use their chemistry and just kind of use that to their advantage. And then in the Carpenter bracket, it would be honestly, against my better judgment if I did not say you guys. I feel like you guys are a solid team, and based on your matchups, it's pretty well even. But I think I give you guys a slight edge. And then in my bracket, obviously me and Jay are going to work our hardest, but it's going to be hard to vote against special practice. So that's any of our four, honestly, I could see winning the whole thing just based on at that point we're going to be pumping each other up. So what are you guys' predictions on each side to go to the Final Four?
I erased it, but I'll agree with you.
There you go.
I didn't know we were doing bracket predictions. I just had all the matches. There's definitely. Remains to be seen. Obviously, actually, you know what? Who'd you have in the bottom there in the Hitchcock bracket? Who'd you have?
Aaron and Anthony.
I think I like Abel and James. I gotta say, I'm going to disagree with you there. I think Abel and James can pull that out.
There you go. Will, you agree with us, or do you have any disagreeings?
So I'm not, I'm taking a different path altogether. I'm not actually doing any predictions, and here's the reason why. During the singles league here, in the first grouping that we did, every single time I saw one of the matchups, I thought that I thought there was going to be a very clear winner. The amount of upsets I have seen in the singles league,
I agree,
has been devastating. I think that there's going to be people who are going to look at their matchup and think to themselves, "Oh, well, I can just coast by."
That's true.
There's not a single fucking team on here, maybe except for ours, but our matchup. But there's not a single fucking team on here that you should be taking lightly at all. I look at these matches. I've seen these people dominate just as much as they've lost. I have seen upsets. Okay, let's face it. Jake Tato beat Anthony and Jay.
Antonio and Jay.
But either way, let that fucking sink in.
No offense to Tato.
Oh no, he even said during his match, all offense to Tato.
He cannot think of any notable upsets in the entire league. Yes, I definitely I second that. So I completely agree, and I'm excited. So any final thoughts, John, on our There'll Be Trivia teams tournament?
No, I just can't wait to get this thing started. So we should definitely be sending out these invites soon, setting these matches up soon, and it should be real good.
There you go. And Will, any final thoughts?
I am just really interested to see how some of these matchups are going to go. Teams are all about chemistry, and some of these teams that I saw seem like it would just be it would just be oil and vinegar, but sometimes that works.
Yep.
So I'm really, really curious to see how some of these matchups are going to go, as well as some of the to see if they can get that chemistry gelled together for the match. So what I want to say, some behind the scenes stuff. So we're obviously going to be doing this in conjunction with singles. So we're going to be uploading now that the first batch, it's not a tournament in singles league, it's open, but so now the first batch of matchups are done. Now we can start handpicking matchups and kind of start working with the standings. So we're going to do minimum one singles a week and one teams a week for the tournament. And then we're going to keep it rolling. But, with the editing and stuff, everything's going to be going quickly. And, we're definitely going to be a well-oiled machine here on There'll Be Trivia. So with that said, shout out to John and Will. Now you know the faces of the admins of this league. So if you need to
voice your complaints, don't, because we're sensitive and we don't want to hear it. So no, I'm just kidding. We're definitely always
And we're always right.
We're spread out across the country, so you're never going to see all of us in the same place. So good luck on that.
But if you do need to visit somewhere, go to Utah, because
it's lovely to come here.
Yeah, we all know. And then if you watch the videos, comment your favorite John and Henry roast of Will, because we know Will doesn't watch the matches, so we make sure we throw at least 1 or 2 roasts per, because that's how we roll in the admins over here. So
yeah, it's always amazing that Henry thinks I don't watch these matches.
Hey. Will, I got something to say to you.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
My name is Henry Confidentials. That is John Marr, and that is Will Cohen. This is the There Will Be Trivia singles team tournament bracket setup, and can't wait to get it started. It's going to be, start sending out links in green rooms in the second or third week of June. So stay tuned for that. Now you know your matchup. Start studying your strength, and we're going to start submitting those pretty soon too. My name is Henry Confidential. That's John. That is Will. See you guys later.